Life on the internet is different from reality.
Gen Zs literally live on the internet.
Call them the opportunists that think they know but know nothing.
No, nothing. You can actually lock them in, but you can't actually keep them.
An average Gen Z seems to know what they want and are not afraid to go for it.
And when these niggas, they count money we never see.
Like
These niggas spend like 20 million and they don't care.
Hello, amazing viewers of the whole TV around the globe. I'd like to welcome you to The Gist, your number one podcast for meaningful, insightful, and educative conversation on everything that pertains to our everyday life, from lifestyle to entertainment, news break, fashion, and more on your one-stop community channel, The Hood TV. The Gist with King Jason is a podcast solely dedicated to uncovering the essence of today's world. And it is my pleasure to be your host on the very first episode. I go by the name King Jason Abiodun Emmanuel. And today we'll be having a very heated and essential conversation on the topic living in today's Gen Z world. And I have with me three amazing guests and personalities on this conversation with me in the studio. I'd like to start with my guest number one. Please, would you introduce yourself to the house?
Alright, my name is Paul Yewise Anjob, also known as Yeyu. I'm an artist and a writer.
I thank you. Guest number two, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Gloria Oku. I am a program manager, I'm a writer, and an advocate. Thank you for having me, Jason.
All right, thank you. And the last but not the least, I like to save the best for last. My guest number three, I'd like you to introduce yourself.
All right, and Gift Silas. I'm a business developer and also an entrepreneur. I'm so pleased to be on this show.
All right, thank you. Without waste of time, we are living in a Gen Z era where 80% of our life is governed and ruled by robots, internet, and AIs. And with me in the studio, the three guests I have are actually not from the Gen Z era, but rather from the millennial era, if I'm correct. You want to affirm to that? Do I have any Gen Z in the building? I'm sure we all are from the millennial era. So the first question I'm going to be asking, starting from my guest number three, compared to the millennial era, what's living in the Gen Z world like, from your view and your perspective?
All right, thank you so much for this question. Before you have a view of what it feels like living in this era, first of all, you have to understand what the Gen Z entails. What is Gen Z? When exactly did this whole acronym and ideology of Gen Z, spring up? Before now we had the boomer, and then we had the Generation X, which is the millennial, of course, our humble selves.
Actually,
right, and then now we have the Gen Zs. To me, I feel like the Gen Zs are in quote the Zoomers, because they literally live on the internet. The Gen Zs are the set of generations that have, been somewhat separated from reality. Their life is more of on the internet, not in reality. That is my take about it, living in the Gen Z era.
Obviously true.
Yes.
Obviously true. All right, thank you for that, guest number three. And I'd like to move to guest number two, my very own Gloria. What's the experience like compared to the millennial era living in the Gen Z world of now?
Okay, just like Gift said, I think living in this Gen Z area these are interesting times, like I always say, because the Gen Z, yes, besides living on the internet, I see them also as people that are kind of removed from a lot of realities, because life on the internet is different from reality. So living out your life on the internet is quite scary. And then the other thing about this Gen Z also is that the Gen Z world is fast. Everything comes at you at an alarming pace.
Speed of light?
Yes. The speed is amazing. It's interesting. It's scary even.
At the same time.
At the same time. But for me, I think what stands out most about this generation, and they seem to rub off on us, the millennials that are quite close to them, is the fact that an average Gen Z seems to know what they want and are not afraid to go for it. I think that is a superpower for them, is their strength. And some of us that mix up with them on a daily seem to also borrow from this strength.
Amazingly.
Yes, so maybe I'll throw some light eventually, but I think this is the super strength of the Gen Zs, knowing what they want and having the guts, every bit of the guts to go for it.
Unlike in our age when we didn't have the guts to
Yes.
venture some
Yes,
things that are being
yes,
ventured
yes,
right now.
yes.
Living by our
That's-
parents,
that's
you know,
exactly-
instructions and all that. So
There were restrictions
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the freedom you had.
Yes.
Now, one of the back then when I was growing up, one of the main restrictions I had for being the first son was the fact that I didn't have the allowance or the freedom to go out at will. Yeah, my movement was always monitored from school, home to church, and then it was just like that triangle for a very long time. Now, unlike the Gen Zs, you can actually lock them in, but you can't actually keep them
Them in.
in, because I mean they could be out on the inside from the four walls. If they have their phones in their grabs, they could be anywhere in the world with the speed of light. Now over to you, my guest number one, Yayo. I'd like to hear your experience on how living in the Gen Z world has affected you, owing from the fact that you're also coming from the millennial era.
I had everything my guest, co-guest said, and to me, I describe the Gen Z as the opportunists. That think they know much better, but they don't know nothing.
Right one. I like that.
Yeah, they understand. They feel they know a lot about life, but they know nothing. Yeah, I'll tell you for free, because when you look at the life of a millennial person and a Gen Z, you see that the millennials are very reserved. Do you understand? Because of life experience, we've seen how our parents, live their life and all that. We follow that same channel. But the Gen Z feels you don't need to tell them anything anymore. That they feel they know everything.
They know too much.
Do you understand? So I call them the opportunists that think they know but know nothing.
No, nothing.
They are smart but they're not wise.
They're smart, but they are not wise. That's the right word.
You understand? They're very smart,
Yeah, actually,
but they're
very
not
smart,
wise.
but not wise.
They have everything in their pocket, like the phone. You got your music, you got your TV, you got your time, you got your calendar. Back then, like if I want to reach out to my girl back then, you used to write later. You have to send maybe her sibling to when they are going for visiting day. They go give, and I have to wait for her to reply. A lot of things have changed. But they are just so lucky. So I won't blame them.
Okay, thank you, Yayo, for that. Moving further, I'd like us to discuss personally how the Gen Z era has affected your personal life. Your personal life this time, because I mean there are a lot of benefits to it and disadvantages to it, and we from the millennial era are the only ones who get to see these disadvantages. Most of the Gen Zs don't see that as a disadvantage, they just see that as we being old school. Now, yes, that's what they do. They see that as we being old school and not being used to the modern life and all. So, personally, from your personal view, from your profession, how has the Gen Z life, away from just technology, how has it affected you personally? Because I mean, you're in the music and entertainment.
The advantage of the Gen Z era that I feel I'm gaining, like. We have the internet where we can do research. Like back then, if you want to learn some certain things about life, maybe have a career, you don't have the opportunity to, just
access it from your fingertip.
Phone, just check out everything. But now, everything,
everything is right there in your face. Yeah?
And it's not actually affecting. It's affecting us, and we're still gaining. But the advantage is much more higher than the disadvantage. Do you understand? I won't lie.
From you.
But to me, my disadvantage is funny. My disadvantage is that this kid here, this is the niggas they count money we never see.
Like,
and they are so
that's another aspect of this conversation. That's another aspect of this conversation.
They don't give a fuck about whether you smell them or not, you don't care. These niggas, they spend money that, like me, if you give me like 1 million, I can make use of that 1 million. These niggas spend like 20 million and they don't care. It feels like it's
crazy.
Do you understand? And then when they walk in where you're drinking or maybe you're eating, they feel like, no, you don't feel tell me anything. I get money.
That's what it is.
And I feel disrespected. Like, I won't lie to you. I feel like young dude normally from my house, I was sending me a wash clothes for me. One day, like, sit down where I sit down on cigar. Do you understand? Those are the disadvantage. And cannot control them because I have money to do anything they want, get anything they want, and go to anywhere they want to go. Like, I bet you the Genz can lodge in Transcorp where their dad have not even stepped their legs in. Do you understand? And they are so rude, so bold. And it's affecting us, Before you, they don't born you when you disrespect your elders, they go knock you for head.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Yayo. That was really strong there. Moving to my second guest, I'd like to hear from your perspective how the Genz reign has affected you personally.
Okay. So for a child, so me like this, growing up, my parents really oppressed me.
It was the same for all of us. It was the same for all of us.
Pressure was a different level, and I say this with all sense of sincerity. But you see, living in this era, and you have these Genz around, it emboldens you. See, it rubs off on me because I'm someone that makes friends with everybody. I love people in my space. And so I have a lot of Genz people. And their boldness is
it's so shocking.
Else. It's so shocking. Because a guy that is way younger than you, I can walk come to you, say, I like you, I want to date you. And I'm trying to balance. Like, who gave you the guts? Who raised these boys? And they don't care. They like you. And they want to go all the way with you. And they're proud to be seen around you. And they don't care what their parents are thinking. No, they don't care. They know what they want and they go for it and they are ready. They are all out. And see, that rubs off on me. And I begin to ask myself, if this younger person can be this bold with life, what is holding me back? Why am I allowing the childhood traumas I experienced to stop me? If this person can be this bold, so I learn boldness from the Genz. Their boldness is on steroids.
Beautiful,
literally.
crazy.
So
crazy.
I learn boldness from them. And in as much as the information is not always
filtered,
used
right,
well, filtered, but you see, the Genz have information at their fingertips, and some of them make amazing use of it.
Yeah.
And see, they are good with cryptocurrency.
Crazy. We're coming to that aspect.
They are awesome with media. They're awesome with PR. They're awesome with photography. They're awesome with so many things. And when you stay in the same space with them and you're willing to learn, they bring you up to speed very quickly. Very, very quickly. And so these are the sites that gets me really, really inspired. And they are so good looking. The Genz are good looking.
There's been improvement in fashion.
Yeah. So there's emphasis on bodybuilding, on makeup, on
fashion entirely.
Skin, looking good on their skin. The guys, the girls, everybody wants to look good. So they have better skin. They have better body build. They wear better clothes. They drive clean cars. See, the advantages outweigh
the disadvantages. All right. Let's hear from my guest number 3, Gift. You were going to say something, so I'll just let you chip in.
Yes, I was going to say something, but I don't want to. At the same time, I don't want to sound negative.
No, you're free. Let's
feel
free. It's an open gist.
My colleague here just mentioned something about the Genz being good in almost everything, but I think they are basically good in technology.
Yeah,
that is where they are sort of like streamlined to this aspect of life. That is where they thrive. Technology.
Jet age.
Yes. But now everything revolves around technology, of course. Everything. But now the problem that I am citing, I know this is not the question you asked, but there is a hitch there that we need to address. It's just like everything is polarity, right? Everything has one side, the other end, and the other end of it, So basically, when we tilt too much to one end, the other end suffers. the Gen Zs have tilted entirely into the technology era, which of course is the era we exist in right now. But that is also separating us from reality.
Yeah.
And this is the point where I this is how it affects me. The Gen Zs have that boldness and confidence to approach you and do things and say things, whatever it is they please. But let's not forget that if you're somebody who loves this generation, is just not for you.
Thank you.
Okay,
It's not for you.
that's
These people are so detached from emotions.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
You go online and you read stories of events or that terrible things happen to people, and the Gen Zs are under the comment section making fun of it. They find jokes out of everything, and because we tilted too much to the other end of the rope, which is technology. We have lost touch of emotions, reality, which is humanity. We can't function alright if we do not keep touch of nature and humanity. Harmony, living together like that. These things have their side effects of which we cannot tell today, but in the future it's going to surface, because separating yourself from nature and sticking to technology, which is also hazardous, could endanger our health as well.
Yes.
Sure.
all right.
Yeah,
True,
totally.
true.
And to add to what you said, that is why in the world today people have more of mental health diseases.
Exactly.
You have a lot of suicide, a lot of depression. Even though the Gen Zs are making so much money and living the fast life and being the fine girls and fine boys, they also have a lot of mental health issues to deal with.
And they're not as happy as the millennials.
Yes.
I was going to fall back to that.
You see, they do not have the deep happiness that the millennials have.
I was going to fall back to that.
Because the millennials know what nature is, know what real love is.
We could interact with nature.
Interact with people on a deeper level, but Gen Zs are all about the glees and the glam, and not the deep things of life.
They don't just like.
And like you said, that is a problem. That is why you see a lot of life is getting easier, but depression is also easier, and suicide is also on the rise.
Sinking deep.
Why?
So much.
It's because we are losing touch with humanity, and that is totally the downside of the Gen Z generation.
Also looking in, I remembered back in our days when we could actually, go out in the evenings to play with kids our age, go sit down around elderlies and listen to stories from way back in the days, But unlike now, you barely see gatherings of such. Now, if at all there's a gathering where you get to see the Gen Zs together or the young ones together, are just events where they just come to party, or probably a show off
and do very weird things.
Do
weird things,
which was very unlike us in our time. In our time, I don't think we had anything like after parties. I don't think we had anything like house parties. I don't think we had anything like pool parties.
But then, let me not cut you short here. I think was it yesterday? I was trying to flashback about this whole topic, like thinking about the millennial and the Gen Z. I fetched out like 4 things I feel is really affecting the Gen Z. Do you understand? And I realized that 1, parenting. Do you understand? Secondly, impatience, and then thirdly, environment. So if we start looking at the whole thing, why I mention parenting, because we know how you be that you grow up now. After primary school, you go to secondary school. From there, you go to university, and all that. After, there was nothing like a side hustle. Do you understand?
Yeah.
This whole thing is
class education.
It's fucking with them. Do you understand? They don't like mentorship. The Gen Z don't want you to. They feel. If you start
that's a very strong point.
Gen Z does not even want education.
They don't want to. They don't even want education. They don't want to be mentored.
Education should be the side.
Education should be a side also. Now I hear a lot of graduates saying, "I just did it because it was necessary for me to do it. I just did it to have some bragging rights, not because I really want to."
The first thing I think about parenting is very, very important.
Parenting, totally. Yes.
Now. Holding to this point you just brought in, how has this affected parenting in our age? Let's talk about it. how has it affected parenting now?
Is that
Is,
fine?
is,
Can
is
I-
parenting now easier or more difficult, or are parents losing sight of their kids as well? Because a lot of parents right now are so engaged with the jobs and meeting up with the standard of life currently. Now, away from that too as well, a lot of parents I know a lot of parents who do remote jobs. Yeah, and they are home. Actually, their kids are home, but they still don't have time for those kids because they're always on the phones or on their system doing remote jobs online. So how has that how has it affect parenting generally in this era? I want us to talk about it.
It's fine.
Gloria, you're a parent?
Yes.
I think you're the only parent okay.
I
Your
have-
parents. Oh wow, that's crazy. Oh,
I have 3 Gen Zs in my house.
3 Gen Zs, big ones, big ones. Yeah.
And God, it is 100% extremely challenging to raise children
Wow.
in this generation. Now, a lot of things. So some of us from the millennials, feel like, I think I was oppressed by my parents. I say it all the time. I think I didn't have the childhood I would have desired. And because of that, I want to do better by my kids. And that is something I'm trying so hard to balance in the middle, because it's so easy to want to do better by them, and then you tip to the other side where you allow a lot of nonsense to come into your house and into your children, because you want to do better. You want them to be able to make choices. You want them to be independent. If you're not careful, you push them to this other side of the Gen Z world where everything and anything goes. So it's a challenge for me trying to bring in the balance. I think I'm not being proud. A friend of mine once said to me, "You have won in parenting," because he realized I could view my children's status.
Oh wow.
Yes, I could view the status.
that's another thing.
Yes, and he said, if your children, I have a 21-year-old, I have a 19-year-old, and he said, if you
And
can
you look
view
so
the
young.
status,
Amazing.
I started early. And he said, if you can view the status of these young men, it means you have won in parenting. They've not blocked you.
But how are you sure? How
Yes.
you sure they
Now-
don't restrict you from some
Now,
content?
I don't know, but
Because it's
But
it's
you know
possible
what?
to restrict you.
Yeah.
It's possible to let you view what
Say
they
some.
want you to
Yeah.
see,
Now, but the funny thing
and
is,
they restrict you from some
yeah,
content.
but the funny thing is, I actually go to their page daily to laugh.
Okay.
I go there to catch fun. Yes, yes, they make me laugh.
And
yeah?
it's another way to know your kids and who they are, because you can tell from
What
the
they
content
put
on the
Yeah.
content.
on
Thank
their
you.
socials.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And sometimes I call my
It's good.
second son. I'm like, why did you post what you posted?
Yeah.
When they had the problem, there's this girl, and then this Gen Z is the boldness. Jesus, at 13, I was already talking to my
At my age, I still don't have that boldness.
At 13,
It's crazy.
I was talking to my son
13.
about liking a girl. At 13, and at 18, he came boldly to me and said, "I like this girl." And I
But
said,
it's cool. I love that
Yeah.
relationship.
That's very unlike us in
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah.
That's very unlike
my
us in
father would
Yeah.
kill me.
Yeah.
Whoever said
It's
my father,
it's
I
a
like
normal
So
thing.
what was the reaction like when he said that?
Yes, and it's fine, but you know the rules. At 13, we had a conversation.
I couldn't try that at my age with my parents.
Yes, and I
Even,
get them-
even when I was 18, I couldn't tell my dad I had a crush on someone.
Yeah.
I would be grounded.
It's crazy.
And you know we had rules, and I said, but you know the rules. No sex. Now you can like her, she can come to the house publicly. You guys can gist with your siblings. It's fine. And she comes to the house, and they will gist and they will laugh, and she will go home, and you'll see her off. And I was a bit relaxed because she could come to the house. I could monitor. I could look at the girl to see how
They're interacting.
innocent
Yeah,
she
yeah,
looks
and how they're
and the kind of
interacting.
interactions,
Yeah.
and see how comfortable she looks around me to show me
The respect.
to
as a
respect.
mother.
And also I was
Yeah.
observing her. You understand? That is the extent of the boldness. I freaked out when he walked into my room and told me that. I freaked out. But I had to just max it.
Yeah.
I had this conversation, and we're cool. And so from viewing his status, when he broke up with this girl, I knew, because he wrote something, and I'm like, why is that on your status? And he says, oh, so this girl, she wants much attention. I'm in school, I can't give her the attention.
Whoa.
And
Are you
she's
for
not
real?
happy. And I had to tell her, okay, we can't do this now because my education is more important. I have to focus on
How
school.
old
I
is
like
he?
that.
How old is he?
He was 18 at the time. He'll be 19
Whoa.
this year. And he said, school is more important, so I can't give all the attention. I have to read. So let's keep this for later.
That attention.
And I was so proud of him because I didn't tell him that. So he knew that relationship is not as important as my school now.
Okay,
So
I think that statement that was made to you that you won in parenting parenting is obvious on this.
Yeah.
Right, so let's talk. And he told me everything, how he felt about the whole night. It's painful because this is his friend and now they're like strangers.
Oh.
You understand? And so is it challenging? Yes, but it is interesting because you
Yeah.
get if you're able to lower your guards and be friends with these people, you learn so much. And you're able to impact so much, and you're able to measure. You're able to measure what you're able to measure what you're doing.
Unlike in our age,
In our age, it was more
it was easy to bend us.
Yeah.
It was easy to bend us because we had
Oh, we are scared.
we had minimal options. We had minimal options.
Yeah.
We were not really exposed to the world away from our jurisdiction where we are, environment, our parents, our homes.
Yeah.
So it was easy to really bend us.
So let me share an experience with you, right?
Unlike this Gen Z, it's really difficult to bend them because you could actually be speaking to them from your own experience as a parent, and whatever you're telling them is not making sense to them because they probably have seen something else on the internet or heard something else
That's where they get
that
their
is
advice
appealing
from,
to
the
them.
internet.
And I just make jokes. They'll say, "Oh, you're talking like a what is 5G mom?"
And they tell you, mommy, you need to know what's up. You know?
And it's not like that. Oh, that's Gen Z mom. That's good.
But let me not lie to you. I admire them all, but the thing is that
They are
if they will allow mentorship, do you understand? They'll be perfect.
Mentorship is a
I'm
key.
serious. If the Gen Z allow mentorship, they'll be perfect. But they don't care.
So I think it is up to us. That's why I'm so passionate about this parenting aspect of Gen Z. So if you teach your kids that we have so much to do as parents this generation. It's so challenging because
it's now more challenging,
You have work
more
to do.
challenging.
You have bills to pay.
You need to keep up with the economy.
Some of us also have health challenges we're trying to manage to stay alive. It's so challenging, but if you can make out the time to bring these people close to you, right? It will be easier for you to parent them. Teach them that mentorship is important. If they learn to submit to you as their parents, to talk to you about their feelings, to give you account, to be accountable to you as a parent, then it becomes easier for them to be accountable outside.
That's true.
So parents have so much to do.
That's true.
Okay, thank you. On that, moving forward, I'd like to ask this very quick question. States, how do you define your identity and how does social media influence your self-perception? Now, we're in the age where we want to dress like the age. I'm a millennial, but looking at me, a lot of people think I'm Gen Z. I've gone to places where people see me and say, "Oh wow, he's Gen Z. He looks Gen Z," but they can barely tell. So, from this question, how do you define your identity? Now, identity in a way that there are a lot of fake identities on the social media, and it's scary. It's harmful too as well. Yes. So how do you define your own identity?
I think it's authenticity. That's where it boils down to. I mean, you don't need to
So
define.
how would you be authentic in a generation that is filled with fake life?
Right. You are a millennial. You can stand out by being. The truth is, once there's an opposing force in a place, there will always be a loud bang. We're in a society where everybody believes you don't hit your child when it goes wrong.
That's another thing. Yeah.
We're in a society where you don't even scold your child. You just have to call them and pamper them even when they're wrong. And we're in a society where parents have lost, a touch of parenting. I don't even call that leniency anymore because that has gone way beyond it, because there are factors that triggers this their reaction towards raising children these days. Okay, so but then you as a millennial standing out in this generation is by standing on what you know and feel is right. Bring that different voice from this common echoing voice all over the place. Everybody feels you don't spank your child, but you feel that child needs some stroking sometime when they're wrong.
All right, so to wrap up with this final question, if you had the chance to choose between the millennial reign and the Gen Z reign, which would you prefer? I'd like to start with my first guest, Yayo. Let's hear your opinion to round up.
I would choose this era because in my time, I didn't have this much opportunity with these niggas, this Gen Z have.
We got that.
And then talking about the forefathers time, I wasn't there. So I don't even know how the thing enjoyed their life. You understand? I should talk about the one I know. You understand? So I think I would choose the Gen Z. I know it's affecting us in a way, but then things are much more easier and much
There
better.
must be two sides to it.
Yeah, do you understand? So for me, I'll choose Gen Z.
Thank you. That's great. All right. To Gloria, over to you. Would you rather pick the millennial that you were in, or rather pick the Gen Z?
I
you're
like where
experiencing?
I am. I wouldn't. I don't want to give anything. I cannot trade humanity. I cannot trade genuine love. I cannot trade nature for anything. So I want that part of the millennials, and then of course I want the information, the fast pace of the Gen
In the
Z.
Gen Z.
So for me, I think where I am now is fine for me.
In between.
Transition, yes, it's fine for me.
That's a quick one. All right. Over to you, my very fine girl, Gift.
Right, for me, I'll just go with Gloria. I'm very cool where I am in between. Even if there's a Gen Z Alpha, I'm still in between.
All right. And that's a wrap up on the gist with King Jason on the Hood TV. Keep it streamed to us, subscribe to our channel, Hood TV Abuja. And stay tuned for more episodes on the gist, bringing you the finest gist on everything that pertains to life. Once again, don't forget, it's the gist with King Jason on the Hood TV. And our slogan is uncovering the essence of life. Thank you for joining us, and I hope to see you on the next podcast.